Hey, I'm Indiana Jim. This is the Star Wars Survival Guide, finally returning to active production over here. And today I wanted to get into the story of Disney investing a $1.5 billion stake in Epic Games. And we're going to get into it right here. I have an article from Forbes that I'm going to link down below in the description for you. How Disney and Epic Games' $1.5 billion partnership can change gaming and fandoms. There's plenty of articles on what it is, just kind of the factual information about it. The deal is about everything from Disney characters to Marvel characters to Star Wars as a part of that ecosystem. One, this part here, it also signals that soon every company will be a gaming company as more of the corporate world starts to give gaming the respect and the position it deserves as a colossal opportunity and the native space many inhabit on a daily basis. Gaming is becoming the next social network and their preferred communication platform. It already is for many Gen Z and Gen Alpha players. And there's a lot of people who still love Star Wars and still love that Star Wars universe. And even if you don't appreciate everything that Disney and Star Wars and Lucasfilm are putting out on Disney Plus, or everything they put out in theaters. I certainly struggle with some of the stuff, but we're all kind of still involved in the universe. We still play things like Jedi Survivor, which I just started, which I just picked up, which I'm enjoying. Really good story. Probably a better story so far than the first one, but I'll have a full review of that later when I finish the game. But really pleased with how they're doing that, which I can play that and not be like, well, I'm never going to be involved in Star Wars again because I didn't like Rise of Skywalker, so Star Wars is dead to me. I'm not playing that game. So, but this right here expands Disney's IP library into the gaming space. This partnership can breathe new life into Disney's vast IP library, revitalize IP that might not be remembered, and catapult popular new IP to new heights. IP being intellectual property, of course. It gives Disney a chance to tread further into the gaming waters, knowing an audience will be there. And it's kind of clinical to look at it from the standpoint of, well, how does this benefit the intellectual property? Because that's what this is about. They didn't buy Lucasfilm for what it was materially. They bought it for what it is intellectually, theoretically, the licenses that they can generate, the money they can generate from licensing that property. And we'll talk about licensing here in a minute because that is critical to understanding the future going forward. And it's been critical to understanding this situation, the whole Star Wars gaming situation, because I think there's a lot of confusion over Electronic Arts and their relationship to licensing and what that means. So let's see here. The announcement stated that in addition to offering a world-class games experience and interoperating with Fortnite, okay, Fortnite as one aspect of it, the new persistent universe they are working on will offer a multitude of opportunities for consumers to play, watch, shop, and engage with content, characters, and stories from Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, Avatar, and more. Keywords here are play, watch, shop, and engage, and mostly shop, right? So a lot of people are centering on the fact that, oh, it's all about Fortnite. It's Disney properties inside of Fortnite, which we've already seen, right? We've already seen not so much Disney characters, but we've had Marvel characters. We've had Star Wars characters. We haven't really had Mickey Mouse and Goofy and Donald and some of these characters in there, but they're probably coming. But I think what Epic Games has shown is that they are respectful of the properties while integrating it into their existing experience with Fortnite, okay? But this is just one example. In addition to offering a world-class games experience and interacting with Fortnite, then they talk about this new persistent universe, multitude of opportunities. That is key right here because there's a whole lot of games that use Unreal Engine, that use the Fortnite engine, but that don't look like Fortnite. That's the thing people get in their heads. They think of Fortnite and they kind of think of cartoony, vivid colors, kind of looks like a cartoon that you're playing. Of course, Peter Griffin's in it, and other cartoons are being put into it. But when you look at the skins for instance, the skin for Boba Fett looks amazing. It looks just like Boba Fett. It doesn't look cartoony. It doesn't have sort of the cartoony, the physical, the really broad shoulders and the skinny waist and the big hands and that kind of thing. It just looks like Boba Fett. So even in Fortnite, things can look semi-realistic, but we've seen when they brought out UEFN, where you can design your own games. The thing with the dragon looks realistic. There's so much in that looks hyper-realistic, which Unreal Engine can do. And so people hear Fortnite and they think cartoony for kids, not for us who grew up on Star Wars, who are now adults. But Unreal Engine, you already played Unreal Engine by playing Jedi Survivor. Does that look cartoony? It doesn't. This is what really struck me in the Forbes article when I was reading it. Ushers in a new era of fandom and co-creation. It also signals a shift in how companies like Disney view its fans and how they are getting ready to co-create with it, something that many brands still struggle with. The announcement claims that players, gamers, and fans will be able to create their own stories and experiences, express their fandom in a distinctly Disney way, and share content with each other in ways that they love. This co-creation and new experiences would be powered by Epic's Unreal Engine, which is already used to create content for Fortnite, Fortnite Creative, and lots of movies and TV. The Unreal Engine just became a lot more valuable and important for developers creating games and content for gaming, virtual and augmented reality, and spatial computing. So we've seen Unreal Engine being used in something like The Mandalorian. They use Unreal Engine already to help them make TV shows. So you've already got this relationship with Epic Games. And I did a video about this 3 years ago. I had asked whether Epic Games was going to make Fortnite 3, Battlefront 3, okay? And I had talked about Frostbite and how bad it was and how buggy it is. So, let's look here. I think that it is a no-brainer to say that there will be another installment in the Battlefront series. But most people say it will be years down the road because of Battlefield 6. They assume it has to come from DICE because of Frostbite. But we're talking about a brand new game, not an expansion of Battlefront 2. The 2 Battlefront games we've received so far were made by EA DICE, the creators of the Battlefield franchise, and use EA's proprietary Frostbite engine. Wow, I sounded so young. DICE for Battlefield. No graphics engine is without bugs and glitches, but Frostbite is notoriously buggy, with Mike Williams of USGamer.net writing in 2019, BioWare began to cut back on planned features for Anthem, like real-time weather, because trying to get them... Okay, so a lot of people, when they're thinking about the relationship between Star Wars, Battlefront, and Electronic Arts. Electronic Arts, when the licensing deal was announced, it was announced around the time that they were getting ready to release The Force Awakens in 2015. It was announced that it was a 10-year exclusive license. Then things changed. In the middle of all that, just before they ended support on Battlefront 2, it was announced that EA's license was no longer exclusive, or somewhere around that time. We remember when that came out. Where people are getting confused is when they think of Battlefront, they keep thinking Electronic Arts. Battlefront equals EA. That is not the case. LucasArts owns the Star Wars Battlefront name, or the parent company, Lucasfilm, or the parent company, Disney. They own the trademark. They own that intellectual property. Electronic Arts rented a license. That's what the license is basically is. You rent that. You pay a fee to license that, to use that for a period of time. It's never a perpetual, ongoing, continual license. When a New York publisher publishes a book, when they buy that from the author, they don't buy the book from the author. They're licensing the copyright from that author. They're licensing the opportunity to publish the work around that intellectual property. That's how licensing works. So when Electronic Arts had a 10-year license, they don't own Star Wars Battlefront. They published a Star Wars Battlefront game, but if you recall, LucasArts published 2 Battlefront titles with Pandemic. Now, Pandemic didn't own the property. They didn't own the trademark. They didn't own the IP. Disney, Lucasfilm, owns that IP. It doesn't matter what Electronic Arts does. Anybody with the license can publish Star Wars Battlefront 3. There may be some components of that, some aspects of that are copyrighted by EA. So it's a little hard to wrap your brain around. I understand that. But just because EA is no longer making it doesn't mean it can't happen. We are seeing this growth of the relationship between Lucasfilm, Disney, and Epic. Obviously, we're seeing this now. So if we go back to this, if I go back to my video here that I published 3 years ago, let's get in here and talk about Fortnite. If one game has shown great success in adding Star Wars content, it's Fortnite. They've had a rather successful arrangement with Disney so far, with both Marvel and Star Wars tie-ins, and when the game had lightsabers, it felt much more responsive than the lightsaber combat in Battlefront 2. Fortnite's Battle Pass system has also shown itself to be an effective and fair monetization practice, with nearly every free-to-play game in existence following this model. And I think it's fair to say that Fortnite is probably the most popular video game franchise in the world right now. Now, I can hear your complaints that Fortnite looks too cartoony, and when you compare the realism of Battlefront 2 and Frostbite to the look of Fortnite, it's no comparison. But that's not the only place Star Wars and Unreal Engine have come together, besides Jedi Fallen Order. Look no further than this article from Polygon a year ago, how Lucasfilm used Unreal Engine to make The Mandalorian. The most successful and popular property from Lucasfilm in recent memory was powered partially by the use of Epic's Unreal. This doom and gloom over the idea that there's never going to be another Star Wars multiplayer experience or multiplayer shooter experience is ill-advised, I think. I think that the popularity of the shooter genre means that somewhere down the line, someone is going to make a shooter in the Star Wars universe. Not a shooter with Star Wars characters like we have in Fortnite, but I mean an actual realistic Star Wars shooter. I think the potential there, the odds are too good with the popularity of the genre that there's going to be another Star Wars shooter in that space. And why not be Epic Games? Because we've seen how good Epic is at keeping the Fortnite experience fresh and ongoing. I think we all could do to be encouraged that there are more Star Wars games on the horizon. This doom and gloom business over the state of Star Wars multiplayer gaming, it's too soon. I think we just have to be patient, and I know it's hard, and a lot of you who were kids growing up on Battlefront 2, it was like 7 years ago when it came out, and I was 40. Now I'm 47, so not a big difference between the two. So for some of you, it's a lot different. Your life has changed. I understand some of you may feel like, well, you're growing out of video games, and gee, it's so sad. It's just so sad that they ended support on this, and life moves on, and we move on to new things. But really, it's not going to be that bad. I promise. There will be more games to play, and we're going to enjoy what we get. Well, I hope. That's what I try to do on this channel anyway, is maintain a positive perspective. So I hope you'll join me in that. I hope you appreciate that. And I will definitely have more to say in the future. But for now, may the Force be with you. Good luck, and I'll see you at the rendezvous.